If you've spent any time in the garden, you already know one universal truth. Healthy soil is alive. It moves, it breathes, it wriggles. Earthworms in particular are the silent workers beneath our feet, aerating soil, improving drainage, and breaking down organic matter into plant-ready nutrients. So when people suddenly notice worms dying in their garden beds after using a simple rice trick, it raises eyebrows and questions. Why would something as innocent as rice, something we eat every day, cause such a dramatic reaction underground? Today on Soil Stories, I'm walking you through what's really happening, why this trick has been going viral, and how to approach it responsibly as a gardener who cares about soil health from top to bottom. The idea goes like this. Add dry rice to soil, and worms mysteriously die within hours or days. Some gardeners swear they've watched worms flee from beds where rice was buried. Others claim the rice kills worms instantly. It sounds shocking, almost unbelievable. But here's the thing. There's real science underneath all this excitement and confusion. Dry rice doesn't contain poison, and it doesn't chemically kill worms. Instead, what it does is trigger a chain reaction in the soil's tiny ecosystem, especially involving pests, fungi, and microbial imbalance. Once you understand that, the mystery suddenly makes sense. Worms feed on decaying organic matter, fungi, bacteria, and compost, not on rice grains. When you bury uncooked rice in soil, you're inviting fast-growing organisms that aggressively compete with worms. In many cases, the real culprits are soil-borne pests and decomposers that explode in number when rice becomes available. The major players are usually anaerobic bacteria. When rice begins to rot, these bacteria multiply rapidly and produce compounds that literally suffocate worms, reducing oxygen in soil pockets where worms live. Rice-loving insects, certain ant species, grubs, and even soil fly larvae rush to feeding areas. More insects means burrow crowding, soil disruption, disturbed worm tunnels. Worms hate commotion and will leave or die trying to escape. Rice mold fungi. When mold spores colonize rice, they create hotspots of toxic byproducts that worms can't tolerate. The fungi aren't dangerous to humans, but they change soil chemistry fast enough to stress worm populations. None of this is instant poison, but it feels instant because the chain reaction happens within 24 to 48 hours. Gardeners often forget that worms are delicate, soft-bodied organisms. Their entire body breathes through the skin. They have zero protection against shifts in pH, moisture, oxygen availability, microbial activity. When rice is introduced, decay begins rapidly, especially in warm, moist beds. Decaying rice reduces oxygen in soil microsites, activates fermentation, raises temperature locally. To a worm, this is like suddenly breathing smoke instead of air. It's not that rice is toxic, it's that it creates an unfriendly environment faster than nature can compensate. Here's where things get interesting. Not every gardener sees worms dying. Some actually see worm populations increase after a few weeks, which leads to confusion and debate. Why the difference? It depends on rice type. White rice decays quickly, causing fast microbial bloom and worm stress. Brown rice and whole grain rice break down slowly and act almost like slow compost, eventually attracting worms once the pests settle down. It depends on soil moisture. Dry soil won't break down rice fast, so you won't see sudden worm death. Wet soil accelerates microbial bloom and makes conditions extreme. It depends on existing soil life. If you already have a balanced, compost-rich soil, the ecosystem processes rice gently. If your soil has poor microbial diversity, rice creates a monoculture outbreak that overwhelms worms. In other words, rice magnifies whatever is already happening under the surface. Rice doesn't poison worms, burn worms, contain toxins, or produce chemical killer effects. What it does is fuel uncontrolled microbial growth. It's similar to dumping a bag of sugar in a fish tank, not poisonous, but devastating. In ecology, balance is everything. A handful of rice won't necessarily kill worms, but burying cups of it absolutely can. So, should you ever use rice in soil? The short answer, not as a worm killer. The long answer, rice can be useful in very specific cases. Here are practical real-world uses gardeners actually benefit from, as a bait to locate pests. If you think you have grubs, ants, or soil maggots, place a small cup of rice in soil. Check back in 24 hours. You'll see exactly what pests you're dealing with. As a slow compost material in controlled composting, rice mixed with carbon materials, like dry leaves, sawdust, or shredded cardboard, can compost safely if done outside garden beds, as a microbial activator in bokashi fermentation. This is advanced gardening, but rice can be used intentionally to encourage fermentation for closed-system compost creation. As a fungal experiment, want to see what fungi live in your soil? Rice is a laboratory in a cup, but scattering rice directly in garden beds where worms work is not recommended. If you love earthworms, and if you're here on Soil Stories, I know you do, use rice carefully. What to do if you already used rice and worms are dying? Don't panic, this is fixable. You just need to rebalance soil life. Step 1. Remove visible rice. Dig lightly, don't disturb soil structure too much and take out what you can. Step 2. Add high carbon materials, leaf mold, wood chips, sawdust, shredded paper or straw will calm microbial overgrowth. Step 3. Add aeration. Gently fork soil to improve oxygen flow. Step 4. Water deeply. This helps disperse concentrated microbial colonies. Step 5. Feed worms their real food. Add worm-friendly organic matter like coffee grounds, banana peels, vegetable scraps, crushed eggshells, or compost. Within a week or two, worms often return. The real takeaway: rice isn't evil, but soil balance matters. The rice trick went viral because it looks dramatic. You bury a simple kitchen staple and suddenly the underground world changes. But great gardening isn't about tricks, it's about understanding ecology, decomposition, and microscopic life. When you know why something happens in soil, you garden smarter, you keep worms thriving, and you avoid repeating viral mistakes. That's what Soil Stories is all about. Learning the hidden language of soil. Final thoughts. Protect the worms, protect the garden. Worms are one of the most powerful natural forces in a garden. Rice is harmless in your kitchen, and it can even have a place in composting and pest baiting, but it should never be dumped into soil blindly. Always think long-term, think balance, and think biology. If this deep dive helped clear the air and taught you something new about soil life, don't forget to subscribe to Soil Stories for more practical, science-based gardening insights. And please share this article with a fellow gardener who might be tempted to try viral tricks without understanding what's really going on underground. Happy growing and take care of your worms. Take care of.